Hello and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Lydia Kamikar, AFCI's Director of Education. AFCI is pleased to offer this opportunity to hear from AFCI leadership on new initiatives, our strategic plan, and information about Creativation 2020. We'll be addressing some questions at the end of the webinar, which you can submit using the Q&A toolbar within your webinar. Today you'll hear from Jim Thielen, AFCI Chairman, Peter Finn, AFCI's Executive Director, and several members of the management team. Again, you can enter questions within the question and answer toolbar, and we'll be getting to those at the end and also addressing in other forms after the webinar. With that, I'd like to turn things over to Jim Thielen to kick things off. Jim?
Very good. Thank you, Lydia. And hello and welcome to everybody for joining us for the Association for Creative Industries Summer Town Hall meeting. My name is Jim Thielen. I'm the Chairman of the Board of the Association for Creative Industries. Thank you for taking the time to join us today for this conference call. For those of you that attended the annual general meeting at Creativation 2019, you may remember that I made comments about the association, and I quoted Stephen Covey, the late American author, educator, businessman, and keynote speaker. That quote was the following: "If you want to make small changes in your life, work on your attitude. But if you want to make big and primary changes, work on your paradigm." As many of you know, the board of directors of AFCI made a decision to change the management paradigm of the association by partnering with Smith Buckland, a leading association management company. They bring to our association a group of highly skilled people in the areas of event management, education, administration, technology, and marketing. The mission of Smith Buckland is to achieve the mission of their client organizations that they serve. In working with Smith Buckland, the board can focus their energies on the expertise on strategy of the association, while Smith Buckland offers deep operational expertise in areas that are going to benefit the association. Now, 4 months into their work on behalf of the association, we're very confident that we made the right decision for the future of the association. In the January annual meeting, I indicated that in our May Board of Directors meeting, we would be working on the development of a new strategic plan for the association. We conducted a second meeting in July when we reviewed our work from our May meeting and discussed a draft for the 2020 operating budget. For the next 25 to 30 minutes, we'd like to provide you with an update on the strategic direction of the association and the activities that we have planned for the future. One of the changes that we're making is focused on the vision that we have for the association. The vision for AFCI reads as follows: an active creator in every home in the world. As the expression goes, a rising tide lifts all boats. The new vision statement is about a rising tide. Our vision is an industry where every home in the world is engaged in crafting. When that happens, our industry will be healthy and everyone will benefit from a rising tide. We also built a new mission statement for the association. Our new mission statement reads as follows: AFCI advances the global creative community by connecting, inspiring, and educating industry professionals who in turn engage and enable creators. We believe that these two statements, when executed well, will position the association and you, the members of the association, to be successful in the marketplace today and in the future. It will enable you to effectively take advantage of new opportunities that will, in turn, allow us all to achieve the vision of an active creator in every home in the world. There's another critically important element to the strategic plan that we have created. The values and culture of the organization are an important means of framing how an organization and its members make decisions, how they act, and how they operate together. We have identified the words that we will use to best describe the values and principles of the association and its members. They are innovation, honesty, passion, a team focus, fun, respectful, and profit-oriented. We will use these words and the cultures that they will create as a means of setting the association apart from others. As an association, we're committed to listening to you, working to strengthen our relationships so professionals in the creative industry connect and learn from each other and deliver value in all that we do together. Over the next year, we'll be putting in place a number of pulse checks in the form of surveys and focus groups to measure how we're doing. That's where your feedback will be very important. As we work to execute all the new and exciting activities that will be part of the strategic plan, my request of you is to please provide feedback. We want to hear from you as we move the association forward and execute against our strategic goals over the next 2 years. To discuss and outline the strategic goals that we have developed, I would now like to introduce Peter Finn, the new Executive Director of AFCI. Peter?
Thank you, Jim. My name is Peter Finn. I'm the Executive Director, a new Executive Director for Association of Creative Industries, and it is a real pleasure to be speaking with everyone that's online today. I think we have a lot of exciting things to share, not only with this strategic plan, but also all the corresponding activities to really help drive that. So we want to go over some of the short and long-term initiatives while also giving you a chance, as Lydia said at the beginning, to ask some questions. I've been here with the Association for Creative Industries for a couple months, and just even in that time, a lot has transpired. And what we want to share is how we're going to be strengthening AFCI's value proposition within the creative community. So some of the things that we'd like to cover is, of course, the strategic plan, those corresponding activities, and an emphasis on member engagement. So all the things that we're doing to better engage our membership in the short term and also over the next couple years. And then we also wanted to share some of the high-level milestones, so put some dates on some of the things that we're working on and share that with all of you, and then hopefully be able to carve out about 10 to 15 minutes to answer some of your questions. So as Jim had mentioned, the board has been working on a new strategic plan using that strategic framework with the new vision and mission, an active creator in every home in the world, and also with the mission advancing the global creative community by connecting, inspiring, and educating industry professionals who in turn engage and enable creators. This is really sort of the guidepost for the strategic plan. This is also something that we'll be building in different measures on, especially around our mission impact. So what I wanted to do is share the 3 main pillars of the strategic plan. So the first pillar is really around Creativation, the event. So reimagining Creativation. So listening to our stakeholders, working with our stakeholders, and reimagining an event that really focuses on the business value for our attendees and exhibitors, as well as inspiring people that are attending and really making it a can't-miss experience. So Benjamin Rabe, who's our Director of Events, we'll be going over some of the things that we're going to be doing for Creativation 2020. We'll also, we have education, our second pillar, so year-round education. So not only are we providing education at the Creativation event, but we have an omni-channel educational program. So building out a platform that members and non-members will be able to use to either connect and learn more about the industry. We have a number of different member segments, so what we're working on right now and what Lydia will be talking a little bit more about is how we're delivering value for each of those member segments with regards to education and professional development. And then lastly, content. So this is something that Kate Purdy will be talking about and how we will, and this also gets into member engagement, but how we're more engaging more members and potential members about the industry, resources, and happenings. So we're going to be using currently what we're calling our content hub, but a place where we'll be able to, again, further connect our members and share things about the creative industry. So with that, I think I'm going to hand it over to Benjamin to talk more about some of the exciting things that are going on with Creativation and to go through some of the more specific strategic objectives around reimagining Creativation. So Benjamin?
Thank you, Peter. My name is Benjamin Rabe. I'm the Director of Events for AFCI and working specifically on Creativation. As Peter mentioned, our strategic goal number one is to reimagine creativation and to make that a can't-miss event for all of the stakeholders that attend that event that happens every year in January. So earlier this year, we did a lot of market research and reaching out to our industry stakeholders. It's included exhibitors and sponsors as well as past attendees to figure out what they valued about the event and what they would like to see in Creativation in 2020 and beyond. We worked a lot to develop some new networking and educational opportunities, which is really one of the most important reasons why folks come to Creativation. And then we've also worked on communication plans that will help communicate all of those new changes, and a lot of those communications will be coming out starting in September. So as we look at Creativation, we changed our approach with regards to how we go out and solicit seminars and workshops. So instead of the education committee just taking what sessions were submitted, they really have changed that whole entire process to go out and solicit educational content from different stakeholders in order to provide new and refreshed seminars and workshops. That entire education schedule will be coming out in the beginning of September. There will also be more education on the show floor. This will take shape in the form of additional pavilions on the show floor, as well as networking areas and conversation areas in the food service areas around the sides of the hall. But more to come on that. You'll be able to find AFCI now in the center of the show floor. In this area, there will be a large gathering spot for all AFCI members. It will also be an opportunity for you to engage with members of the headquarter team, specifically our Director of Membership, Jason, and the rest of the headquarters staff. But there they will be talking about ways to get involved with the association, the different member benefits, and there'll be ways for you to sign up and get more involved in 2020 with the association. There will also be a spot in the center section where you'll be able to find AFCI, where you'll be able to find the designer section, and also the content creators and our Canadian chapter. So now we will all be in one central spot in the middle of the show floor. We are also going to continue to have the pavilions, which have been very popular in the past, but we're also redesigning those. There will continue to be a bead and jewelry pavilion, edible arts, new exhibitors, a new product showcase, a stamping and a yarn needlecraft pavilion. But with the key exhibitors and sponsors in each of those areas, we are working with them to bring more education and more learning opportunities to the attendees. So we will be gathering all of the exciting things that they'll be doing in their specific pavilions and booths, and then starting to share that content with you in September with the opening of registration. For more information, you can go to creativationshow.org at any time. This will be posting all of our information as more becomes available in September. One change that we did want to go ahead and announce today is that housing is now open. An email was sent out earlier this summer to say that you can now book at any one of our hotels. But one change that we are making for 2020 is that you'll be able to get early access to registration if you book at one of our 3 headquarter hotels. That is the Hyatt, the Renaissance, and the Sheraton. If you book by the deadline of Friday, September 30th, you will then get access to register early, 1 week early before everyone else. So if you want to do that today, you can do that at creativationshow.org. And if you have any questions about housing at all, you can reach us at housing@afci.global. Just want to walk you through a couple of dates on what that actually will look like for Creativation in the housing process. You can actually advance to the next slide, please. Thank you. The education schedule will be announced on September 2nd. The deadline to get access to early registration is going to be Friday, September 13th. And then if you do register at one of the 3 headquarter hotels by that date, you will then get an email from us the week of September 16th with instructions on how to register. And then you'll be able to do that starting on Monday, September 23rd. And then for those that want to choose their own housing option, a regular registration will open on Monday, September 30th. And now it is time to kick it over to Lydia, who is our Director of Education, and she will be walking us through strategic goal number 2, which is education.
Sure. Thanks so much, Benjamin. And I just want to call out, again, look in those deadlines. You will receive a link to the PDF of this PowerPoint and the recording. So if you were taking some notes on those deadlines, you'll have access to this and some material we'll share after the webinar. Within the next week, you'll be able to access all this on the website. So no need to take too many notes just now. So I want to go into a little bit of detail on what we mean by year-round education. And a lot of this is still in progress. But I think it's great to keep in mind that when we think year-round education for AFCI, it is also creativation and it is also content. So education really plays into the other areas of our strategic plan as well. Thinking about what Benjamin said, this year's creativation will be able to be really a beginning, a start of some of the relationships with our experts that we use at that event to create more year-round learning, whether that's a webinar or a podcast or articles within the Content Hub, different ways that you guys can receive information and education throughout the year. The area that I really want to call out is that member segment. So this will be really key in helping us serve the membership, that everything we do is tagged or has the keyword so that you can really understand in relation to your job role and the organizations that you're with and what you do day to day, that you've got targeted education for you as an AFCI audience member. So we'll be looking at including more tags and more keywords within the education that we produce throughout the year so that you can easily navigate our website. Along with that, calling out that opportunity for peer-to-peer content delivery. You're going to see in the Creativation schedule a lot more roundtable sessions, a lot more opportunities to talk amongst yourselves, to hear the ideas that others are doing of how they're taking their business to the next level or facing some challenges or looking for solutions from others. And we want to find ways to continue that throughout the year and not just at the show. And then finally, prioritizing and building valuable education opportunities. So again, looking at, we know people learn in different ways. So whether it is at the show in person, whether it's through a webinar or audio or written articles, we want to make sure that that valuable education is offered in a lot of different ways. So definitely more to come. As I mentioned, we'll have some things starting on the website this fall, especially to highlight some of the great speakers and experts that we'll have at the show in January. But other than that, more to come in 2020. So you can really use the AFCI website throughout the year to get great education. Along those lines, I want to transition over to Kate Purdy, who will talk a little bit about content, which ties into this really nicely.
Thanks, Lydia. My name is Kate Purdy, and I'm the Marketing Communications Manager for AFCI. And today, we're going to talk about goal number 3, which is our content and content strategy for AFCI. So when we think about content, as Lydia said, it's the education, it's information from our speakers. It's also really runs the gamut from things in the articles that are being posted into Gradient, as well as the AFCI blog, industry news and trends, and really everything that all the industry resources and research that we want to be sharing with our members and the entire creative industries, our entire audience. And so with that, goal 3 of the strategic plan for AFCI is to inform and engage members as well as potential new members about industry news, resources, and happenings through a robust content hub. And so really a content hub, and what we really are looking forward to be launching this fall for AFCI, is a one-stop shop for all of this great resource and information. So when you go to the content hub for AFCI, you'll be able to find podcasts and articles and industry tips and trends. And really it's that one resource that you can look to help grow your businesses. And underneath this goal, some of the strategic objectives that we'll be going through are creating and executing a structured and valuable content strategy that engages users and drives revenue. So we're looking at how can this be a thoughtful process? How can what we are producing and what we're delivering out to the membership be in a thoughtful and meaningful way throughout the year? Creating a content hub that is the most effective and efficient to communicate our content, and then identify, distributing, and showcasing collective knowledge of the creative industries, which includes research. And so how we approach this is through a phased approach. And what we have been doing over the past few months and will be continuing through into 2020 and beyond. So the first part of the phase is we want to make sure that the content that we are producing and distributing matches the current needs and the current preferences for our members and for you all. And so the first thing that we did when looking to develop the Content Hub that we'll be launching is really auditing the current AFCI content and member content preferences. And so this is really coming from the member surveys and the focus groups that were done in 2018 as well as extensively this past spring. And so what we really found, and we're really excited about the content that we'll be distributing, it's going to be focused on what our members have stated they want to see from AFCI. So looking at product and consumer trends, looking at profiles of unique, innovative approaches or new trends that are happening, business insights and retail best practices, and then social media strategies. So really under these key 4 buckets will we be providing new content out to the membership. And then phase 2 is we're going to be looking to launch the Content Hub and integrate existing and new sources of content. So looking at member news, the AFCI blog, and then these new kind of core categories or areas we'll be focusing our content. And then once we launch the hub, we'll really be working to create a comprehensive long-term content strategy. So focusing on into 2020, 2021 and beyond, and making a strategy working with AFCI members that will be comprehensive and cohesive and thoughtful along the way. And then phase 4, we're going to continuously be benchmarking and having an analysis of what we're putting out there. And so going back to what Jim had said earlier in terms of the pulse surveys that we'll be doing and continuing focus groups, we want to make sure that what we're putting out is still relevant to your needs. So we'll be looking at, is the content consistent with what you want based on the member pulses? Is there something new in the industry that you would like more insight on? And then also doing a lot of the analysis that we get on the back end from a digital content hub. So page views, article views, and seeing what is being read and maybe what isn't, and how can we change and adjust our approach. And the great thing about the content strategy is it really is going to be providing more ways to connect with AFCI. And so with our approach and how we really want to be categorizing and distributing the content, we really want to be focusing on developing a single newsletter for AFCI news and member news and what you need to know about what's happening with AFCI, and then an industry news and focusing on those tips, those trends, and really the things that you need to help manage and run your businesses. And so looking to really divide what is the current AFCI news into 2 distinct dedicated newsletters. And then also looking to really enhance the user experience, as Lydia mentioned earlier, in terms of the AFCI website and interacting with that more, really creating nice streamlined user flows in the AFCI website and the Content Hub. So more ways for you to easily find the information that you need on our website, on the Content Hub, and on the Creativation show site. The more ways to connect and knowledge share and exchange ideas with fellow members. So with our new Content Hub, we'll be looking to really showcase content, articles, and information from AFCI members. We'll be doing more routine call for content. What's happening in your store, what's new, what's something exciting that you did that was successful that you want to share. More ways for members to really be writing articles, sharing their expertise, sharing their knowledge with the entire AFCI community. We'll also be looking to form a new content committee with the Content Hub. So this will be a group of volunteers who will really help shape and decide, what are the themes for the year going to be for the Content Hub. Not only maybe writing articles, but also looking at who are individuals within the membership who could be content contributors for the Content Hub as well. And then looking to just continue to increase engagement with AFCI social media channels, ways that we can be doing more interactive engagement campaigns on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest are some of the ideas we have moving forward. With that, I'm going to send it over to Jason Baum, who will talk more about member engagement.
Thank you, Kate. And I'm Jason Baum, Director of Membership and Operations for AFCI. I have been with Smith Buckland now for 5 months, well actually 6 months, and this is going into my 8th year with the Association for Creative Industries. And I'm just going to kind of pause there and say that I hope everyone so far on the call who's listening is as excited as me with all the things that we've been doing for the association that you might not have been aware of just in the past 5 months that the association has been with Smith Buckland. Coming from the standalone model with the association and now to working with Smith Buckland as an employee, but for the association. It has been really an eye-opening, great experience, and it's so great to see all the resources that are now available to the association that you'll all benefit from in the membership. So with some of those things that you can expect to see within the next couple months this fall, we're going to have a new website that will be launching around October. We'll have a new member database that will be available to you. It's been a long time coming, and we're finally going to get it. We have the new content hub, which Kate had mentioned earlier, so I won't really spend too much time on that. We also have, with all these things that we're doing, year-round education, updates to Creativation, different forms of research that we'll be looking into doing, all the content pieces. We're going to need committees. We're going to need member involvement, and we're not doing this in a vacuum. We want to have you included and be part of it. And so we're going to be opening up all new different committees that we haven't had and expanding committees that we do have. So that's been an exciting way to get involved with the association. We've also been doing something that we've kind of dubbed internally as our listening tour, where we're going to various member companies and stores throughout the country, and we're being active listeners. We really feel like, rather than going to people with an ask, this is the time to listen and take it all in and kind of push the reset button. And that's an exciting thing for us. And we're getting a lot of great feedback. And I encourage you to, if you haven't talked to me in the past couple of months and you have a question or a question for any of us, we'll be including the contact information at the end of this presentation. But I just want to give out my phone number. It's 312-673-5428. And I encourage you to give me a call at any time if you have any questions about your membership, about AFCI, about what's going on. We're also going to be calling you every 6 months just to check in, see how you're doing, and see if there's anything we can answer. And just in addition to all that, we also are going to be doing those surveys, focus groups, and the check-in calls just as a means of making sure that the benefits that we offer are the ones that you need, and we'll be assessing that whole program as well. The town hall that we're doing right now is a great example of how we're going to be continuing to update you and keep you engaged and informed as to what the association has going on. And it is a lot these days, so I hope you're as excited as I am and the rest of the team. And with that, I will turn it over to Peter for the next steps.
Thanks, Jason. So I thought this is kind of one of the wrap-up slides, is just to show you kind of where things are at. And as you can tell, we've got a lot of things in process. As Jason had mentioned, we have the new membership management system, which will be launching in September. We have Creativation registration also opening up in September. We're launching a new website also in September. We have the content hub that Kate was speaking about that will be launching in October. And then one of the things that we'll also be doing as part of that pillar for year-round education is looking at a series of webinars starting in January. And then we also have, of course, our Creativation event, which we're all very excited about. So these are, as you can see, there's a lot of things in play, but we wanted to make sure that you had a window into this, into some of the things that are going on. And as Jason said, we want to make sure that we have a direct line of communication with our members. We hope to do more of these kinds of forums where we're able to share all the great things that are going on, while also listening to your concerns, addressing your questions, and making sure that we can maximize the benefits for all of our members. So just the last slide that I had here is just a look at all the different parts. So because I think it was mentioned earlier, none of these are really discrete. I mean, I see these as all very integrated, but this is a great snapshot of those three pillars and some of the corresponding activities that we're working on as a team here, as well as our mission and vision really at the heart of this. So this is the graphic that we'll likely be using on the website to really show what we're working on and to make sure that members know the kind of value that we're delivering. So With that, I think we have some time for questions. We're right at about 12:30 here. And I don't know if some things have come in, Lydia, but we'd love to address any questions that have come up.
Of course. Thanks, everybody. So again, just a reminder, you should have a tab on your toolbar for question and answer, so you can type in things, and we'll take them as they come. If it's a question that we don't have a chance to get to, or we need to kind of take back and have some more insight on, we'll be addressing everything either individually or via the website or in different matters as well. So if you have a question that we don't get to today, we'll be sure to get in touch with you. One to start, Kate, I think this is for you. You mentioned content. We mentioned Content Hub a few times. Can you just define that a little more on like where it is and how it'll be included in the website?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Content Hub is really a digital website or platform that's going to house all digital articles and news information for AFCI. So I would say think of it as the AFCI blog, but just bigger, more expansive, and more news to really that's going to be shared out. And it is going to have its own URL, but it's also going to be available to reach via the AFCI homepage, and it's also going to be included a spotlight of the different articles on the new AFCI homepage.
Great, thank you. Benjamin, I think this is one's for you, someone that already booked at the Renaissance. How do we make sure we've got that info to headquarters so that they're eligible for early registration?
Yeah, what we are going to be doing is we will be getting a list of everyone that is booked in the AFCI block by Friday the 13th. And then we will be sending out that following week to everyone that is registered through the housing process, through our website. They will be getting a promo code that will allow them to get into the registration site early, starting on Monday, the 23rd of September. And then what you will need to do when you go through the registration process is just let us know which hotel you booked at, and then enter in your hotel confirmation number. But that promo code is going to be what will be emailed to you, and you just need to provide your hotel confirmation number and what hotel you're staying at, and then you'll be able to register for all of your workshops and seminars a solid week earlier before everyone else. And then starting on the 30th, anyone can register without having that early access code.
Another logistics questions around, will we be booking speaker accommodations? Should we register for housing ourselves? That's a great question. I think that as we get in touch with the speakers, we'd like to ideally take that a little case by case if we're covering some of those travels. But I would probably say that we could include them on our master grid. So get in touch with us before you book, and we'll make sure that you're set up. This is a good question. Is there a theme for Creativation 2020?
That is a good question, and that is something that both Kate, Lydia, and I have all kind of discussed. And the focus really was, and the reason that we kind of put the hub on in the center of the show floor this year was that we really wanted to talk a lot about the member benefits and AFCI. So there's going to be more to come around the theme of that hub in the center of the show floor in September, but know that it's really going to be about the association connecting with members and having AFCI be at the heart of what Creativation is all about. That's why the thought is that it's in the center of the show floor, and we're really talking about all the new and exciting changes that are happening with the new team in place, and we'll be doing that at the booth, but also through webinars and additional communication throughout the fall. So really the theme really is kind of getting back to AFCI being at the heart of it. And I don't know if Jason or Kate or Lydia, please, as the other directors on the team, please chime in if you had anything else to add up from all of our discussions we've had this summer.
No, I think that hits on it, really building off of that AFCI hub and building that community and helping people find their way to navigate, I think will be great. More to come. Jason, I think this might be for you. Do you know when the award winners will be announced?
So we have been working with the awards committee, and we have we have industry awards. Those winners have been selected or identified in the Hall of Fame as well, and we're in the process of notifying the winners first, and then we'll be sending out an announcement in the early fall.
Great. A question around the education. So what are some of the subjects that will be part of the education program? That's a great question, and one that we'll keep asking so we know that we're offering relevant content throughout. But I think a few of the main areas you're going to see is an emphasis on marketing, on branding, on sales. We hear that loud and clear from the folks that are either business owners or in that space. And then that's coupled with a lot of education. We want to emphasize on new products, on trends, on what you need to, maybe be aware of to really kind of elevate your business. So I would say those are kind of a few of the buckets that you'll see a lot of our education fall in, but that we'll have a little bit of everything, hopefully, as we're going along. But keep an eye on surveys or opportunities to share what you'd like to see from AFCI, and we'll do our best. Question around, I think this falls in with content, so Kate, you may be able to speak to this. Will we be conducting research studies like we have in the past?
Yeah, thanks, Lydia. So the research committee has been evaluating the research and kind of what research members want and would be the most valuable. So at this time, we're looking at what kind of a new research project would look like, and we're definitely looking for member input into what would be most valuable, and then from there, we're going to build out and look into more research.
Question around Creativation, if there is going to be a keynote speaker. So I can take this. I think what we're going to try and do is, rather than have one keynote speaker, we want to really highlight on the show floor different experts and folks to do either shorter innovation talks or spotlight talks, things where they can offer a variety of perspectives and information throughout the show floor. So likely we won't have just one keynote speaker, but we may have the industry panel that went over well last year and continue on that theme. And then again, just have more touch points with more perspectives in that sort of spotlight area. So again, kind of plays into having more on the show floor for you to participate in while you're busy going from booth to booth. All right. That's a couple more coming in. One question around how can I get involved in a committee? Jason, you might be able to speak to this easier.
Sure. Well, you can call me directly at the number I gave out earlier, or email membership@afci.global, or on our website we also have, under our membership tab, a volunteer link, and you can fill out a form for volunteering specifically on a committee. You can indicate which one you're interested in. We'll also have a button on the new website that will allow you to do that as well.
And this is Peter. I just also wanted to add that also at Creativation, we'll be promoting some of these committees, so we would like to get more of our members involved. I think Jason had noted that earlier, so we really encourage anyone on the phone that is joining today, if you're interested, please contact us, because I think the success of those committees really depends on member engagement. So if any one of those committees is of interest, please reach out to us.
Question around the education plans. It says, will you be reviving the AFCI podcast? Now, I know that we do have plans to bring podcasting back, or at least have opportunities for some of those audio-based conversations. I'm not sure if it'll look exactly like it has in the past, but we'll look at what we've had and how we can build on that. So hopefully that answers the question a little bit, if it's something that we've had in the past. If it's referring to the iDiscover chats that we've had branded the last couple years, we'll have something that's a similar idea, but maybe not look exactly like that with that same branding. So again, more to come as far as these different delivery methods. All right. a question around if there will be a VIP program at Creativation this year, and I believe that's in the works, but that might be one that we'll get back to folks as we get a little more information, unless anyone on the call has a little more on that they want to share.
This is Benjamin. There will be, our intent is to not take anything like a VIP program or any of the special programs that were there in the past away, that if anything, we'll be having more programs available for different sections of the membership. So we're looking to continue the VIP program, but then also enhance our involvement with the digital content creators and also the designer section. So making sure that all these different groups of folks are feeling important and valued and want to participate in the association and also at Creativation. So more details will be sent out to those VIPs that kind of participated in that program in the past. And probably more people will be included as well in the future.
There's a question sort of tied to the how to get involved in a committee around, making sure, how do we make sure that committees have active members? And I think, part of that will be having, if I can just touch on this a little bit, will be making sure that our committees have some good structure in place, have some, maintenance rules and different things like that to make sure that we've got an active committee and the folks that are raising their hand that they want to volunteer have that chance to participate. So I think more to come, that you'll see our committees both expanded but also structured and standardized a little bit. So I hope that answers that question to some degree. All right. I just flipped really quick as we're going along. If you do need to take any notes to the contact us slide, this has the information for some of our folks. So if you notice your slide changing, something you can grab. I don't see any more questions right now, but we've got a couple more minutes if we want to wait. Or Peter, and Jim, if there's anything else you want to make sure to share with folks before we close things out.
Yeah, and I just wanted to also note that Chris King, our AFCI sales manager, she's also on the call, but I just wanted to point out that her email's up there, and also Pete Cartwright, who's our senior operations and membership associate. So Pete works closely with Jason on membership. But I didn't have anything else to add. I just wanted to really thank everyone for joining us, and to please, the reason why we put the contact sheet here is, contact us at any point if questions arise about membership benefits, future events. If you just simply want to tell us how we're doing, and I just want to thank everyone. But I don't know if Jim Thielen, if you have any final remarks.
I want to say thank you to everybody for joining us today. We appreciate your participation, and we look forward to an exciting future for AFCI.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining. We will be getting in touch again with everybody with where they can access the recording for this and the slide deck for future reference. And stay tuned for hopefully a future town hall sooner than later. Take care, everybody.